Okay, so in today's training, I want to help you to optimize your content. One of the three pillars that I work on in the Growth Accelerator is content. And we're not just talking about content that we're delivering in our programs, we're talking about marketing content here. So what I want to show you is how you can optimize the content that you already have so that you can then use it in your marketing to give a quick result to your potential clients and therefore have them want more from you. All right. So by the way, if you haven't got this workbook yet and you're watching it live, just type workbook below and I shall get it to you. If you're watching this on my website or on YouTube, there'll either be a button or a link down below and you can get a hold of it. Make sure you get the workbook because it's definitely going to help you to get a result out of what I'm teaching you today. All right, so here's the thing. When we create content as coaches, as trainers, consultants, a lot of times we make mistakes. And one of the biggest mistakes we make is that we create way too much content that gives everything. It gives them the entire experience. And therefore, they don't have anything that they need from you. So what I want to do is show you how to create your content so that it delivers the best results for that particular potential client and for you. All right. So when we design content, when we create and have this content put together, there's three areas I want to talk to you about. So the first area is just that itself, the design of the content, right? We also want to talk about creating the content and, most importantly, delivery of the content. It's pointless creating content if you don't deliver it to someone, all right? It's just content for content's sake. So let's have a look at the best ways to do this. You see, a lot of times, and I certainly did this, the first thing people do is they go digital. So they sit there, they've got a screen in front of them with a cursor blinking and nothing's happening, right? But what I want to challenge you to do is to go analog. Old school, pen and paper, iPad, whatever it is that you use, to draw it out first and to get clarity around what it needs to look like when we get to the create phase. So now that we're creating it, the other challenge that I see is just creating cookie cutter experiences where it's someone else's content or something you've learned or several pieces of content and learnings you've put together, but it just looks the same as everybody else's. But what we want to do is create the content in a way that it's unique. Because your potential market is unique. The way you deliver your experience is unique. The journey that your program takes people on is unique. So we want to make sure that we create content that actually tells people that. And then in the delivery, a lot of content, whether it's in this case marketing or in your actual program content, creates overwhelm. So in the marketing content, I've got 27 videos and a book this thick, and you go through all that and then you'll be able to get some sort of result. No, people need quick wins. They need to be able to actually get something in a shorter period of time. So what I'm going to show you how to do is create content in your marketing that actually gives results. You give a result to the client or the potential client and they become your client because they've already seen that you can take them on a journey that brings results. All right. So let me just take you through 5 key ideas around this so that we can then have a look at the workbook and see what you can do to actually implement what I'm teaching you. So the first thing is to follow a format. All right, format is a term and a model created by Bernice McCarthy many, many years ago for school kids. And over the years, content creators have adapted this so that it's more in tune for adult learning and particularly in the context of marketing, as I'm going to talk to you about. So it's got to follow some sort of a logical format so that people can see themselves in that and they can go step by step. The second thing is that it's got to install tension and belief. You know, it's like one of those setups where you have all the dominoes lined up and for some reason you just bump one and down they all go and you've got to start all over again. And a lot of your potential clients feel like that right now, right? In their life, in whatever it is that you do with them, the area that you work, they're feeling like that. So what you want to be able to do is come in that moment and be the person that stops the downfall, that stops the next domino from falling over and actually allows them to go through the rest of that period of time without that challenge. So to do that, there's two things. We want to install tension in our marketing content. We want to make sure that it leaves them with a gap. We want to make sure that it creates an internal tension that says, now that I know this, and this is a solution to my problem, I don't have the excuses that I had when I didn't know, therefore I probably should do something about it. That fear of missing out, that fear of incomplete, all those things, the rule of incomplete. The other thing that we want to do is install belief. First belief is that there's a better way, that I can actually overcome this challenge. And in fact, that's the second belief, is not only can this challenge be overcome, I can actually do it. Because as you see in a moment, the process gives them evidence of that. And the third thing is that they have belief in you, that you can actually bring the results that you say, that you can take them on a journey, you can work with them, etc. So let's install tension and belief. The next thing that we want to do is use show and tell. It's like when you were a child, you went down the front of the classroom, the teacher says, so show me what you've done and tell the class about it. So it's an experience that allows you to immerse yourself in that journey. So it's not just someone telling you a story, you can visualize it. So when we're building our content, we want to do the same thing. We want to be able to create it in a way that they can see it and that they can see themselves in it. The next thing is we want to have bite-sized chunks. Yes, it says bit-sized chunks. I just realized that, but that's okay. That should give you some, faith that you don't have to get it perfect, right? The metaphor that I want to use here is going down the line in the canteen. So the overall result that you want is to give them a meal so that they can go away and eat that and get the energy and the replenishment from that meal. But what you don't do is just slap it all on a plate. So they pick up a plate, they go to the first person, they get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And by the time they get down to the end, they've got a full meal. And when you're creating your content, that's what we need to do as well. You need to be able to cut it up and serve it in a way that they get it a little bit by little bit, and then they end up with the whole picture. They end up with the result. And the last one is learn, do. This is where we want to make sure that we have a ratio that has some learning, some information, with some actual doing, which is implementation. You know, it's like you watching this right now. If you don't get hold of the worksheet, the workbook, and actually do the exercises, then it's just information, something else that you've learnt. What we want to do is create an experience where our potential clients can actually do something that's going to be one small step and they get a result. You know, it's like a young boy watching his dad shave. Someday he's going to need to shave, right? So by watching the dad do the shaving and then when it's the right time, actually doing something around that themselves, I love with my sons, where they had a razor, a toy razor that had no blade in it whatsoever. Right? So they could actually put the shaving cream on and feel the experience of the shaving cream and go through the same motions. That's what we want to do with our marketing content, so that it doesn't just teach them, they've actually got a result. All right, by the way, if you haven't got this workbook, then make sure you type workbook below and I'll get it to you. Or if you're watching this somewhere else, there's a button or a link that you can get hold of it. So let me just take you through the workbook so that you know what you need to do. So the first thing is the format experience, all right, which is, how, I'll start again, which is why, what, how, and instead of what if, which is what Bernice said, it is then now. So big emphasis on why, showing them the steps and what the information is, giving them a chance to experience a little bit of the how, not the whole story, and then telling them how they can get the next part of the picture. Then in the workbook too, there's the IP snapshot, where every little bit of content that I create, I make sure that I do a snapshot in this format so that I've got a clear picture that I'm delivering it in a way that they're going to be able to assimilate it. And then the optimizer will allow you to take what you know about your potential client and the work that we do around audience alignment and getting the hot avatar, and using those fears and their frustrations, wants and aspirations, what it is that they are looking for to create your content. Going through points just like I did here today, and then making sure that you've got a visual model, some implementation that they can do, something that they can do to get a result, and knowing what the next steps are. So for you right now, I'm demonstrating this to you. So for you, your implementation activity, download the workbook and to go through this in a piece of your content. We go a lot deeper in all the other things in our growth accelerator, but I'm sure that you'll be able to take what you've heard here today and use the workbook and get started on creating some content that's going to get you the results that you want. By the way, if you do not yet have the workbook, type workbook below, or if you're watching this on the page, then there's a button or a link down below somewhere that you can get a hold of it and go through the exercise. If you want to know more about the Growth Accelerator and how you can get more clarity around who you are, what you know, who needs that, your message, your avatar, all those things, around your content, both delivery and marketing content, and the ways that work to get clients, then just let us know and we'll get some details to you. So that's it for today's training, and I look forward to continue to work with you in the group where we go through some more training again next week. I'll see you then.